another political podcast. Come together and yap with us.
Hello, yappers. We're back to talk about the most random stuff in the political sphere. Before we get into it, let's introduce that motherfucker down there, Adam.
This motherfucker right here. Fuck ice.
And my ride or die streamer, Norman down here.
Yeah, we were
just talking about that, about Matt Gaetz, and like, on top of everything else that this DOJ has failed at, what happened to the Matt Gaetz investigation? Like, Congress kicked him out.
Yeah.
But there should be like criminal charges here.
Yeah, it's something I never followed up on, but I just kind of assumed he got away with it because he's son of a rich guy.
So even if we were to get rid of Bondi today, like, who is the next attorney general? Because we've gotten rid of, like, you know, a quarter or a third of the lawyers in the DOJ. Do you promote from within, or does that Lindsay Halligan chick that's only ever worked in like insurance law run the entire legal system?
Well, we know being qualified isn't necessary to be appointed to one of these very important jobs. So it could be anyone. I don't know. I don't see her being fired. Trump values loyalty above everything else. Loyalty and fealty.
Condolences to your audio system, Robbie. May it rest in peace.
Shit.
Yeah, Gaetz is nobody's friend. Like, I do find it interesting that the like most extreme Republicans that finally like went so far to the right that they came back around to the left. Like, not quite Gaetz, but Marjorie Taylor Greene definitely did. They both shuffled off the coil of Congress and like started saying, at least like Gaetz realized where he was and he was screwed, but like Marjorie Taylor Greene started turning over half a new leaf, and that's I don't know, that's something, I guess.
Well, it's almost like just trying to save a bit of face on the way out because they know how unpopular their shit really is, you know?
All right, so we've got a bunch of this hearing was 5 hours in 2 parts. I didn't even realize it was 2 parts. I got to the end of the first 3-hour video, and then I was like, they were like, well, we're gonna break for lunch, and I was like, wait, what? There's part 2? No, the cliffhanger. This is almost 5 hours of testimony.
Yeah,
we've broken it down. We're gonna like do this in like 7 little parts, and the first thing is about Bondi's, what they call her burn book, where she started this in the Senate, where she doesn't answer any questions, but she already has these pre-scripted responses about hating the people on the committee and like the worst things that have happened in their district that have nothing to do with them truly. And it's like the sick burn, that kind of burn. So the first place we're going to start is, the burn book.
You acted with some mixture of staggering incompetence, cold indifference, and jaded cruelty towards more than 1,000 victims. You even launched a criminal investigation into Renee Good's grieving widow. You've turned the People's Department of Justice into Trump's instrument of revenge. Please do not waste 1 second of our precious time by evading questions, by changing the subject, or engaging in personal attacks against members of Congress. In the Senate, you brought something with you called a burn book, a binder of smears to attack members personally for doing the people's work of oversight.
Because I'm curious, and I'd like to see you flip to the Jared Moskowitz section of the binder.
This guy, by
I'm
the
interested to see what staff provided on the oppo on me, and because we're in the Olympics, I'm going to give it a grade. I just want to see how good it is. So give me your best one.
She doesn't actually do anything out of the burn book there.
Yeah.
Which is too bad. I wanted him to grade it. I have actually, this is the first Olympics I've ever watched. I've never been into winter
Really?
sports, but
Oh,
just
shit.
like side note, loving the curling
Yeah.
and the hockey too.
Curling is interesting for sure.
It's pretty bitchin'. It's been a fun run. Anyway, but on the front of Bondi here, like this is just teeing up what we're gonna see. She doesn't ever answer a question, and I got to be honest, if you watch the whole thing or even part of it, you also realize that the Democrats are stonewalling her in some weird tactics that I don't necessarily love. But they only have 5 minutes, including her response. So they're like, if you're not going to answer our question in a meaningful way, give us our time back and we're going to ask you something else. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a circus. I mean, it's highly entertaining and really lays bare the deficiencies and the bullshit that are going on, but at the same time I'd like to see some meaningful fucking action instead of just this sort of thing. But I don't know, do you feel that this do you think that yesterday is going to result in any actual fucking repercussions at all? Because it would be a first time for this fucking administration to face any sort of like actual anybody to actually face any sort of consequence. Like,
and that's just it. Like, you see some of these old congressional hearings from like, some of it was absolutely terrible, like the McCarthy stuff, but there was some really effective and meaningful movement that came out of Congress at one time. And now it's just this performative goddamn theater. And I really hate it on both sides because you don't get anything done. You don't get anything meaningful in the public, except trying to get the other side to like capitulate to what you want them to say, goad them into like whatever the worst thing you can get out of them is. And it's honestly terrible to watch for the most part. Every once in a while, each side gets in some good, like, aha, you got him there, and some good stings. But at the end of the day, nothing happens. And I titled this thing Bondi's Contempt, and she should be held in contempt of Congress for not answering and for perjuring herself a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what to me, it just feels like, yeah, you get your pithy little jabs in here and there, but like, the fuck are we doing? Like, oh, and then all the people on social, she needs to be fired, and she needs, and it's just like, it's not gonna happen. I don't know. It's just fucking really frustrating at this point. I mean, it has been frustrating for a really long time on many levels. But I don't know. But anyways.
Yeah, we'll get to that clip too, Norman. I've got that in this, like, in all these clips I'm going to show tonight. I think he was probably the best one. He led her down the path to like, and I can't remember if it was him or the guy before him. It was the only thing she just answered yes to. Like she took a yes or no question and one question in 5 hours. She answered with an easy yes. So this whole thing was about for the most part. It was a general oversight, but a lot of it was scheduled around the Epstein files, their release, their botched rollout really by the DOJ. But the way she comes across, I'll just let the video do what it needs to do.
The answer to my question, how many of Epstein's co-conspirators has she indicted, is 0. You have been the Attorney General for a whole year, and your DOJ fired the lead prosecutor of this case, sat on evidence this entire time, and claimed falsely last July that there were no more leads.
Please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand.
I think that Democrats, in fact, should be apologizing to the Epstein victims.
Last July, you closed the
Here he
case
is.
on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of crime. I'm showing you. Epstein should rot in hell. So should the men who patronized his operation. And you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
His tax returns were leaked, and they were illegally leaked by a private contractor who actually is in prison now.
Do you even know who Chase Mulligan is? He is a defendant in your own
Chairman,
district who preyed on girls.
Mr.
ages
Chairman.
15
Well,
to
you know what? If he were part of the
in
Epstein
social
investigation, you wouldn't
media
do anything
and
about it.
Oh, that didn't go the way she wanted it to there at the end.
Yeah.
The way she oh my god, this ending scene of her, like I kind of love this.
Her fake outrage
Her
is just soap opera. Yeah. It's fucking gross.
Yeah,
Her soap opera level fucking acting of being outraged at them telling the truth. I mean, I guess that's all this really does is just further like disenfranchises hopefully some. When we were talking about that, they even like some of the conservative people are saying she needs to go. So, but I think that's more like they don't want to see Trump get damaged. You know, I don't think it really has much to do with what's right for the country. But either way, I would accept. You know, but don't you dare accuse me.
Yeah, the way she snapped back at him, like it's going to be interesting to see how many people in the aftermath of the Trump administration end up prosecuted themselves.
Yeah,
and not the way they claim that this is like, oh, we've ended the weaponization of the government, even though we've like indicted a bunch of Trump's just small annoyances over the last few years.
Yeah. Well, they want to, a certain faction, one particular person, I can't remember who it was. Was it Fine? Randy Fine, I think. Want to open an investigation into Bad Bunny for the halftime show. It was one of those fucking
Oh my God, no.
It was one of those, it was one of those fucking yahoos.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing we'll get into here later in the show. Maybe if we get out
Ultra
of there's
MAGA.
so much Bondi, but
Ultra MAGA.
That halftime show was something. Like I actually watched part of it. I watched almost all of Bad Bunny, and I watched some on either end of the turning point just to see how bad could get. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, like there was a whole thing about like the girls standing up, the women that were abused, allegedly, and she did apologize to them at the beginning, but then like never acknowledged all the stuff that was said about how they hadn't been interviewed. Many of them had not been interviewed by the FBI or DOJ. And there's like credible tips that were not followed up on about Trump specifically and potential underage girls. So,
yeah, and they were redacting. That was one issue that came up in the hearing. I know was that they were redacting the perpetrators' names, but not the victims' names. They actually outed some people. So that again doesn't look very good. No matter, I mean, there's no way to really spin that. Like if you have even one functioning fucking brain cell, obviously they're protecting the people who did this shit, you know? So
yeah, one of the biggest things she sidestepped everything, but particularly when it came time to, well, who of Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirators have been indicted or brought to justice? And the answer is zero.
Yeah.
Zero investigation. Supposedly, like there were investigations, but they were closed. But maybe they're open now. Like after what little testimony you got from this woman, it's all over the place. She is way more interested in trying to discredit people on the other side with like seemingly random and innocuous stuff, while just absolutely stonewalling Congress, whose job it is to get this stuff out of her.
Yeah. Well, why we're supposed to have congressional oversight, but it doesn't ever seem to. People either just don't show up and there's no repercussions, or you just get this circus where nothing's answered.
Except by seemingly blaming the last attorney general.
Yeah.
This whole thing about Epstein, the thing that
Biden.
kills me the most about Epstein, who was the attorney general in Florida in 2008 when they had him, and he should have gone down on Florida state charges, and they kind of knew then? Who was the Florida state attorney general at the time? Anybody want to take a stab? It was Pam Bondi. So they went on this whole thing about how, at least the Republicans did, about how like if Merrick Garland had done his job, none of this, and like past administrations, none of this would have happened with Epstein. But if she hadn't literally made a deal with Jeffrey Epstein when she was the Florida attorney general,
Yeah.
he would not have been out and still doing the things that he did, and we probably would not be talking about him today. He may even still be alive, which is gross, but
How much of this information came out in that, the investigation they did back then too, like she's probably been involved in covering it up from the get-go.
clearly
They've completed the investigation. Yeah.
But yeah, I had a video to go along with this, and it's like, it's hard to be Merrick Garland. Oh, I can't hit play.
Congresswoman, you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General
Twice.
Bondi.
No, can I
I'm gonna
finish my
reclaim-
answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time.
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions.
Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are
Y'all
in
fucked
charge.
up.
You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them.
Yep, that's pretty much what needed to be said.
Yeah. I agree. I think he was the best at what he did, because he was just bringing the truth, like no theatrics or anything like that. He's like,
Yeah,
all these
Garland
other
fucked
people
up,
failed too. Yep.
and Holder and Acosta, but the buck stops with you. You've been the attorney general for a year.
Yeah.
You've been the one most directed at these files. It's been kind of a big thing simmering your entire sitting in the attorney general's office.
Yeah. Well, they made a big show of it. Remember when they brought all the influencers to the White House, and they had
But all they
fake
gave them was
binders,
stuff that was already out there. That was
Yeah.
already public information at that point.
But what I'm saying
that was
is
at
that
the
they've-
point when Cash
they're
Patel
the
had
ones. They're the ones
still
who
came
have made
before.
this a big a deal as it is, and then when now it's actually like, quit fucking hiding this shit, they're pissed off. You know what I mean? Because I don't really understand what the strategy was there. I don't know if they thought they were gonna burn Democrats with it, like, whereas pretty much anybody on the left, what I've seen is, we don't give a fuck what letter you have next to your name, as far as your politics. If you did this shit, if you were involved in this shit, you need to go down. You need to go to fucking prison.
Yeah, and like, was Merrick Garland a shit AG? Probably. Like, here's the thing though, I never really heard about him. He wasn't constantly in the news trying to get FaceTime, trying to, as our next segment that we'll get to, impress daddy. That's what she's doing.
So fucking
But
weird
just on
and
Merrick Garland,
gross.
yeah, he wasn't a great attorney general. But you're worse. You're actively covering up the crimes of powerful people and helping them get away with it and stay in power. I don't know if it's her or Stephen Miller that's the worst person in this administration, the most insufferable. Stephen Miller's definitely the most, he's in the position
Evil.
of power to do the most harm.
Yeah.
But she's a true believer. That's the scary part.
Yeah. Well, in a wannabe fascist dictatorship, everyone has to be lock and step with each other. You can't have dissenting opinions.
Even when none of it makes sense.
Even though it's like the dumbest. It's
Best
like the Third
economy
Reich,
ever.
but way more stupid.
Yeah, like I can actually see people being taken by the lies, some of Hitler's lies. I don't understand falling for any of Trump's lies, not one of them. They're like all out there to bear. I think it's this next clip that I've got where that's the longest one we have to go through. And she says that he's the most transparent president ever. And to some degree, that's true. He's out there and open about what stupid shit is going to happen under his watch.
Yeah.
He's told us exactly how dumb things are going to be, but then he lies about the mundane things like gas is $1.99.
Yeah, well, as far as Hitler's concerned, like we had a Great Depression going on. You know, people had to take wheelbarrows. I remember hearing that. You know, I haven't fact checked it since high school, but it was, you know, you had to have a wheelbarrow full of money to buy a loaf of bread, and then, you know, your wheelbarrow would get stolen because it was worth more than, you know, the money in it.
In post-war Germany, yeah.
Yeah, you had those conditions. People didn't have access to the totality of human knowledge in their pocket either, which has only somehow made us dumber. I'm not sure how we've gotten to that point. But
we're more connected and we have more access to knowledge, and yes, somehow we make even worse decisions than we made like 50 years ago.
So Trump played off a lot of the same ideas that Hitler did as far as how to, you know, the fake populism, blaming immigrants, and he convinced people, a certain amount of people, that regardless of the fact that we had the strongest recovery post-pandemic and we are the richest country in the world, that they were just way worse than they'd ever been, and it was only going to get worse and worse and worse because of the evil Democrats. So, you know, put me in office and I'll fix it. So, but,
yeah, even though like the cycle, it happens with some frequency where like a Republican administration completely crashes the economy. You give Democrats just long enough to like put the Band-Aid on and stop the bleeding, but not like fully treat the wound, and then it gets infected by putting Republicans back in power.
Yeah. Well, even when they
And
do
then we
get
do it
time,
all
they
over
don't
again.
follow through because they have the same corporate sponsors. So they don't actually like do anything to prevent it from happening again, you know, because that would mean regulating these fucking bankers and shit. I mean, it was Clinton who repealed Glass-Steagall, which was the safety put in after the stock market crash that I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, it's banks that loan money can't also be investment firms, basically.
Right.
So that was that's what led to the 2008, because then banks were, you had investment firms that were tied to banks that were giving out fucking loans super easy to people who couldn't pay them back. But anyways,
but now the banks can just take your money and go on Polymarket and bet on what colored dildo will be thrown on the field at the Super Bowl. Yes, that was a prop this year.
Dude. Well, that's when the housing crash I believe it was the housing crash, right? There's a mechanism. I don't fully understand it because it doesn't make any sense to me that they can actually bet that a loan will fail. So when the loan fails, the people that bet that the loan will fail actually make money. And again, I don't
Yeah.
fully understand it, but because I'm like, what the fuck does that even like? I mean, essentially, the whole finance system is just a big game to these people, you know.
You're essentially taking a future on the way I understand it, because it is complicated. You're essentially taking a future that the price in the future will be less.
Yeah.
So in these like bundled loans, that's like one solid vehicle that you can then pay a futures market to say, well, in the future, I think the price is going to be a lot lower. So I'm going to borrow the shares of the people that own it and bet. It is complicated,
Yeah.
but there is a way that it makes sense.
Well, it's a bunch of made up shit to make a
Ish.
bunch of
It
people
kinda-
who
it-
have
yes,
money
you're not wrong.
to make more money.
Correct.
That's how I see the economy. It's basically a big shell game for these people, and they have, they're fully insured by the federal government, as we've seen, because when their fucking little schemes blow up in their face, here comes the government. Did we bail out individual homeowners during that whole thing? No, we gave the banks money, and people lost their homes still.
Uh-huh.
I know. Somewhat recent history, but it's all led to this. We're so short-sighted. We just look at the last 2 to 5 years, and it's like, no, this has been going on for a while. And the reason that Trump even came into power is because people were sick of the Democrats fucking saying one thing out of this side of the mouth and fucking doing something in opposition to that with his hand over here.
Yeah, the Democrats tell you half truths so they can like pass whatever it is that they want. That's generally like vaguely problematic. And then you've got Republicans now that just lie to your face.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
They used to like,
but
pretend
hey, the stock
they
market.
weren't
Have
lying.
you seen the stock market?
They used to like at least act like they weren't lying right to your face. Now they just do it blatantly, and you have 25-30% of people are just like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Well, but see, the way just in my opinion, like the way I've seen Democrats is like they give enough. They do try to protect. They do try to pass laws on social issues, which they have. They can be progressive in that way. But when it comes to the economy and dealing with corporations, these are all the same people that back them. So they really they'll do enough for people, but then they're still doing the same thing where most of the wealth is being transferred to the people that donate to their campaigns. And people see that and they're sick of it, but then you want a populist who's gonna make America great again. But
whatever that actually means.
Yeah,
all right.
Not feeling so great. I know, a little side detour here.
Oh, that's fine. Because this is like one of the longest, deepest topics
before we get into more of this.
We've only gotten halfway through Bondi. This next one's my longest clip show that I put together, and it's entitled "Impressing Daddy," because she is desperately trying to gain Trump's attention over what you can consider her little sister, Kristi Noem.
And even your own boss has repeatedly complained to your staff about you, calling you weak and ineffective.
Your Trump derangement syndrome, the president saying they indicted me twice. During impeachment, you said the president conspired. Robert Mueller found no evidence, none, of foreign interference in 2016. Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump? You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history, because Donald Trump.
Don't talk about my daddy.
The Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. Median rents have fallen to a 4-year low thanks to Donald Trump. That's why They want to focus
Look
on
at this woman
Epstein
just over
and our
her
most
right shoulder.
transparent
I've been watching her
president
eyes
in
this
the
whole
nation's
time today,
history.
and she
All
is
the
like,
great
I
work
don't know
that
who
this
she
president
is,
has done
but her eyes
and will
tell a story.
continue to do. I find it interesting that she keeps going after President Trump, the greatest president in American history.
Do you know what else Trump has said? He has said he has cut gas prices by 1,400%. False.
Actually,
False.
gas is down to
That he
$1.99 a
didn't
gallon,
know
thanks to
That he
Where?
didn't
Fucking
know
no.
I want to
Nowhere.
know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime.
Does he
Everyone
make
knows
you
that.
dress
This has
up in
been
a
the most
cheerleader
transparent
outfit when you
presidency.
go to the White House?
This president
He
is the
does,
first
doesn't he?
president in U.S. history who has
Donald
repeatedly
Trump.
sued the federal government, sued the federal government for $230 million. But now he's suing the IRS for $10 billion.
Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. There's I'm not sure why I added the stuff about Trump suing to this one, but the
Dude,
amount
that
of
was
ass kissing, nobody kisses
fantastic.
Trump's ass quite like Pam Bondi. She is a true believer.
Did you watch the last season of South Park?
Yes,
The
I
brown
loved it. It
nose.
might be my favorite
Constant
season of
shit
South
on her
Park
nose.
ever.
Sometimes bigger.
Pam,
and
you gotta
bigger.
get a little something there.
You got something, Pam. Dude, yeah. Holy fuck. Just soap opera level acting. Donald
can only
Trump to Dow is 250,000
Yeah,
points.
she just like, it's the hardest, weirdest pivot I've ever heard. Donald
then-
Trump, the Dow.
Dude, what really got me was the end where she's like, "Can you apologize to him for you?" And then she just got that look on her face, like, "Whoa, you hurt
Big
Donald
mean to
Trump
Daddy."
feeling." Woo. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. What a
as far as
fucking
my
clown
little
show.
corner of the universe,
This meme's
just-
perfect. You fucking clown skank bitch.
yes. Just talking about gas prices for a quick second.
Yeah.
They were $1 or $2.69 at one pump, same pump, the day Biden left office, and the same pump last week when I filled up, it was $2.67. So technically it's true. We're down 2 cents, but it's been up the whole time in the past year before that. So
Yeah, I don't know where people
Yeah.
buy. Obviously,
Where is this
depending on what
$1.99
part of the
gas?
country you live in, is going to affect what your gas price is. But for me, for the last it seems it's been 2 years.
we're
It's
flat.
fluctuated about 20 cents here
Right.
and there. It either goes up or down within a 20-cent range, basically. Like, and you know why? Because it has to do with the price of oil. And the president has
No.
nothing.
Shocking.
The president has nothing to do with the price
Well, he
of
has
gas.
something
besides
to do, but not a huge thing though.
the only direct way I know a president can influence gas prices is to release a large amount of oil barrels from the oil reserve.
I mean,
because
there are
then
a
that
bunch of ways,
creates
but most of them
supply.
take time to
Yeah.
work into the
or
system.
that seems to be the most immediate way that I've seen presidents, they release 1 billion barrels or whatever. And what's funny is I remember that coming up and before Biden dropped out, like, oh, he depleted our oil reserve. And it was like, no, it was like, I think 1 billion barrels or whatever they put out was like 10% of it or something, or 20%. But they immediately refilled it, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah, we refilled it when it was cheap during COVID.
it's like,
was
that's
released
something
and
that
then-
he did to bring the price of gas down, you fucking idiots. Like, but yeah, it's
Well,
just pure.
that's the most minor of just the like, yeah, like anytime and sometimes nobody even said anything about Donald Trump. She'd just go on this like, oh my God, Donald Trump is the greatest man in the universe, and you need to love him.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if it's that she's general. Is she a true believer, or is she so committed at this point because there's nowhere to go but down in her career after this is over?
Yeah,
She
I think
hitched
it was just a
herself completely.
just a fallback theatrics, just a way to waste time and whatever. Almost like she's almost trying like a stream of consciousness sort of thing, like he does or says he does, even though it just sounds like the ramblings of a fucking incoherent shitbag,
Some
which
of
is
the
basically how it
times
played for her.
she was talking about him, like about him being specifically about being a great man. Don't you talk about him? It almost sounded like she knows something that we didn't, like maybe he doesn't have a lot of time left.
Maybe.
I'm convinced that he's not going to be around much longer, and his inner circle knows it.
Yeah. Well, his condition seems to be getting worse for sure. Speaking
Yeah.
of condition, what's going on with Mitch McConnell? Nobody's heard anything from what I've read since he
Interesting.
was
I haven't heard
announced.
about that. Let me look.
Well, remember he was hospitalized like 4 or 5 days ago, I think it was. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and as far as I know, nothing.
Discharged yesterday.
Okay.
According to Politico.
All right, I'm slow on the uptake then.
I hadn't seen.
I was on a
anything
mini
about it
vacation.
And congrats for you. And I'm glad you got to enjoy some time with your bride to be.
Yeah, it was fun. Good to get away for a minute. Tried to stay off my phone too, but it's hard.
Yeah.
What fresh horror is awaiting me?
When life comes at you at 120 miles an hour all the time these days.
Yeah.
So our next thing I had taken some clips from. This one's kind of random. It's about Alex Preddy.
The statement Mr. Preddy's mother made after the murder resonated with me more than you'll ever imagine. The sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting. The administration was quick to spew an incorrect narrative and call him so many things that they wanted us to ignore the truth.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of beat this. I don't want to say beat it to death. We talked a lot about Alex Preddy a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I did want to use this as a touch point to come back and kind of add on to a story that we had started reporting on a couple of weeks ago. And we weren't sure. We said then, though, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things about the Preddy investigation. But that there was video of him from a week before beating up on an ICE vehicle. And we weren't sure if what was out there was AI or real. And it was the next day that I found out the truth. And this is kind of a side tangent about AI and stuff too, because the answer is complicated. The answer is both. There is an angle that somebody has. It's a 20-minute recording, and that's just part of it. You know for a fact once you see it that it cannot be AI. However, there are AI. Most of the videos that people had seen and that were going around were fake angles of it or enhanced angles from an opposite point of view.
So
he did actually hit an ICE vehicle and knock its headlight out when it was going. They didn't stop and arrest him and nothing.
Yeah. So they feed it into AI and tell it to create another angle of what's going on, basically, sort of thing.
Yes, that's the way.
Yeah,
I
know it's
understand how that
capable of
works.
doing it. Yeah. I mean,
but it definitely happened. But it just points out that some of the things that we're going to start seeing here in the next few years, if this keeps going on this AI frontier, which I don't think it can, the money's about to run out. I don't think you have more than this year before it all just collapses colossally in on itself. But maybe before that happens, we have AI. We already saw a bunch of AI ads from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We see things that incite us to do something based on something that never really happened or that's a half truth.
Yeah, it's it's dangerous, really. Because a lot of people don't question it, you know, they just see it and they accept that it's a real thing. And I think people are pretty easy to manipulate already. So, but you think it's AI as far as the applications we've seen so far is not gonna work out, or I have mixed feelings with AI. I think there's a good side potential of it, like medical
I
diagnoses
think
and
there's a
things like
couple of
that,
good things it can do.
you know. But yeah, obviously, like,
But
yeah, I don't mess
90%
with
of what
I don't mess with
has
it. I
been
don't mess
shoved down
with
our throats, the image generation, and like you and I'm sure are a little more sensitive to the music generation side of it, where it's like,
yeah,
what? Why? Why would you ever do this?
yeah. Well, and I was talking to that with a friend of mine, one of my coworkers, who he's actually he's part of this movement where he's recording digital, but he's dumping it to tape and doing things like that.
Get weird, get that bias in that
yeah, well, you get
saturation
the tape,
in
get
there.
some saturation and natural tape compression, but
Fuck yeah.
I get those, there's Sonos or something, I think it's called, and you basically can write a riff and you feed it into it and you're like, all right, make a song out of this. And what I was saying to him is, I've noticed it's very generic,
that's the
everything
thing,
it
like,
puts out sounds exactly the same. It's the same production value,
same progressions,
no matter the
might change
genre.
the key, but usually like every genre will have like 3 or 4 templates, and that's all it can do.
Yeah.
You're gonna get some very simple variation of that thing, and it's not. And even if it got better, why would we want to do this?
Well, it's like,
there's so much good music out there. There's already more music than any one person can ever listen to in their lifetime. Why would you ever do this?
I see the appeal from people who can't really play instruments, because then it allows them to create complete songs, but at the same time, like, you're really just being a fraud. You know what I mean? Like, work at making the music, Yeah,
I mean, if it was a tool to like get you started and to like try out some lyrics or something in a basic progression, and then you build around that. Yeah, like I could see that being kind of cool.
I'm sure that it can be used in that way, but the idea, like, of just feeding some lyrics into something and having it make a whole song, I'm against it. Maybe I'm just old.
I mean,
but I use it a little bit, like the new mastering, like
AI master. Are you shitting
the
me?
isotope stuff? Well, I'm not.
Well,
I'm using the AI. I use the AI.
I know what you're talking about.
I use the AI assist. So what it does is it analyzes it and it says, this is a suggestion. So
right,
what I found with that, with like EQ in particular, it can get me like most of the way there, and then I go in and I tweak it. So to me, it's just getting me there quicker. I would get there on my own, but it's me in the ballpark a lot quicker for me. You know what I mean? Like, but that's as far as I go with it.
Though
I'm using it as an assistant, and I don't, but it's not creating music for me.
Right. It just, that's just an algorithm where it's like, it hears so many things based on like scanning all kinds of other finished music.
Yeah, it analyzes.
It's not trying to make something new. That's barely AI.
I tell it, it says, it asks like intensity basically, and then what platform is it going on, streaming, CD or whatever.
I know.
So you have that stuff. Yeah. So
I do. I don't use the assistant anymore. I used to, and I will agree. It was better at the time when I started doing that than the chains that I built myself. Anyway, we're getting way off into like a whole. Come on your
music
podcast and talk about.
You can come on the
that
Metal
kind of
Chefs.
stuff.
Shout out, plug for our thing. It's offensive. I'll warn you, it's offensive.
Yeah, Adam does a great
Well, it's
metal
chefs.
podcast. All right, so a
anyways.
couple more. Jesus, wow, this really got away from us. This is 45 minutes. I've still got 2 things just in the Bondi stuff to show.
Yeah,
and one's like almost doesn't matter.
Illegal Chinese vapes in our country.
And not only are they laced with THC, many of these vapes, but they could be laced with fentanyl.
And heroin and codeine. I'm hoping for codeine myself.
I mean, there could be rainbows, unicorns, and gumdrop smiles in there for all we know. You know. Was that a Republican that was bringing that up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything
this?
about that. I thought that was odd when this was mostly about like Epstein and the general direction of the DOJ. And he's like, illegal Chinese vapes. And I'm like, what? These are words? All right.
Did
You
they
want to talk about this?
Are they banning them? Is that what they're? I don't. Who knows?
Wants her to look into them, and she's like, "Oh, we already are," because like kids are dying because they're laced with fentanyl from China. Really? All right. I don't know why that would be a thing that anybody would do, but unless you already got it over here, I can see why people here would do it because people would do anything. But
oh, they're trying to escape the fucking reality of the horror of this fucking.
I don't really have an opinion.
Shit.
That was just like that was the weirdest thing in that 5 hours. I was like, illegal Chinese vapes. Oh, okay. I didn't realize this was a thing I needed to be worried about, but here we are.
President Trump, get rid of all the vapes. You'll see. He's the greatest president ever.
Daddy needs to get rid of the vapes.
You better not be mean to him.
Leave Donald alone. That old meme.
Yeah.
So I had one more thing from the Bondi hearing. And it's not even questions. Jasmine Crockett for president. I was trying to think months ago when we started the show, like a Democrat that I could vote for and actually get behind. And I couldn't think of one. But after seeing her, and she declined to ask her anything, but still just absolutely savaged Bondi because there was no point in ceding any time to that woman to just say the same stupid crap she'd been saying. But here we go. I call this Jasmine Crockett sticks the landing because she was the final Democrat to speak.
And to be clear, I'm not going to ask any questions of this witness because this witness has revealed that she has no intentions of answering questions. But instead, I'm going to ask some very basic questions really quickly of my colleague, Becca Ballant, if she will answer right or wrong, children.
Wrong.
Right or wrong, killing random citizens.
Definitely wrong.
Right or wrong, enriching yourself as the sitting president of the United States.
Definitely wrong.
Okay, thank you, because I probably never would have got that with our witness, because I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contained more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions, or how your agency is ready to give the president a $230 million payday, which is unconstitutional. The fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history, an attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution.
Mic drop. Yeah. She just spits, and I love every bit of it. In general, I kind of hated when the Democrats were like, they'd take their time back and not give Pam like any chance to answer, even though it was clear that she wasn't going to go anywhere good with her answer.
Yeah.
So I love that she just kind of clapped back at her at like the dumbest things that Pam is doing without giving her any chance to respond.
Yeah, I've been following Jasmine for a while. She's one of the handful of Democrats I actually have some respect for. And it is about a handful at this point.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So
your party choices include pretty much bad for everybody that's not rich, and pretty much bad for everybody that's not rich, and also fascism.
Yeah.
You can't win.
Well, in the past, I might question whether a black woman could win the presidency, but at this point, I think if we can maintain a free and fair election, Republicans are going to get their fucking asses handed to them in the midterms and in the next presidential election. But,
oh yeah.
Well, they passed the Save Act in the House, but of course people are saying it doesn't stand any chance in the Senate. So
I don't know,
but
I almost bet this might be one of them 50-50s that dipshit will have to sit down and cast the tying vote.
Yeah, but then it will be challenged to the Supreme Court, I would imagine. Well, if they take it on. So,
probably.
Yeah, and I don't see how they can rule that it's constitutional, but
and there's way more, just like the bill that they asked us to vote here in Maine last year. There's way more than just IDs to vote. That's not all it is. There's a lot in there that is just a poison pill.
Yeah, it's meant to disenfranchise as many people as possible, because historically, when larger numbers of people to come out to vote, Republicans lose.
At the same time, I want to watch it backfire. I have this prediction that if everybody is forced to, how many like older folks that only drive once a month and haven't checked their IDs that have been expired for 2 years and they didn't realize, how many of them is it going to disenfranchise? Yeah. I'm waiting for it to completely backfire on Republicans and it make it harder for the older folks that it can already be difficult for some of them to vote.
Yeah.
That would have voted Republican and now they're not going to be there for them.
Is there anything in there about mail-in ballots? I bet there is. I don't know the whole.
I don't think specifically. I haven't read it myself.
Because that's been a target of theirs for a while. They're trying to, get rid of mail-in ballots and say you can't count ballots once election day is over, and all kinds of different tactics that they've tried using, which have failed thus far. It's almost like the founding fathers, understood that you can't give the federal government the control over the elections, and that needs to be left up to the states to keep the federal government from doing this sort of shit. Not specifically voter ID, but they were a bunch of racist dudes, and had their faults, but they did have an understanding of history and did get some good shit done,
All right, so I'm gonna change with 7 minutes to go. I'm gonna change the topic. We've only got 3 topics today, and we just spent 52 minutes on the first one and 8 minutes on the last 2. So at least this one, there's not that much to say. The stupid turning point, alternate Super Bowl halftime. I watched almost all of Bad Bunny's. I watched this before that and this after. I wasn't paying attention to Kid Rock enough. I was just I'm going to record it and I'll watch it later and dissect it. And yeah, it was fine. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Although the second chick, whoever she was wearing this pantsuit and she was barefoot, first of all. I don't know if that's some kind of trad wife significant thing, or if she just really likes getting her feet dirty. And she's these pants that were way too long for her, especially without shoes. And yeah, Kid Rock lip syncing, but otherwise bad. But I don't know.
No, he didn't lip sync. The video just didn't match up. That's what they said.
Except for where he was supposed to be singing and he wasn't anywhere near the mic, but it was still full volume like he was singing. Yeah, that's not.
And
that's
supposedly.
Not
who the fuck knows anymore what's true, but it was, I think it was Candace Owens who said this, who's completely fucking batshit crazy at this point, but claimed that it was filmed 2 weeks before the Super Bowl in a warehouse in Atlanta, and they paid 150 people a couple $100 or something to be there. And
yeah, I mean, it definitely was pre-recorded. They claimed it was live at first, but even if Kid Rock's statement is to be believed, the sync was off because they like, had pre-recorded it, he said in his statement. So we kind of already know that was a thing.
Yeah.
It did some cool, like,
well, you
there were
couldn't
some cool
fix
lighting
it.
effects
You had 2
I'd
weeks and
never
you
seen
couldn't fix
before.
it. And it was funny too when they couldn't broadcast it on X because of licensing issues or something like that. Like, again, you had like several weeks to get this all worked out and you couldn't even get it done properly. Is a never nude.
Classic turning point. Couldn't even get it right. Couldn't stick the landing the way Jasmine Crockett did.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall I don't care. Like Bad Bunny, fine. I did not mind this, but nor did I like really fall in love with it. It's fine.
I went out and took care of some dishes and came back and watched whatever. I'm not the audience for it, and let's not talk about it.
Run themselves into the ground.
Let's not talk about it. But I was making a joke. I'm like, I didn't give a shit about the halftime show because I'm not a pop music fan. You know,
yeah,
like,
that's
the
pretty much it.
46-year-old white guy wasn't the target audience. That's fine with me. Like, I'm not so fucking fragile that I have to be like, you're an American, fucking, you know, like. I think it offends some people so much that they're not always the fucking center of the conversation or the center of what's going on, you know. And
for 10 years and as a whole, I haven't really liked them. Like, before she was a bag of shit, I thought Katy Perry back in, like, I don't know, was it 2013 or 14 or something?
Yeah.
I thought that was really good and well done. And then I didn't like another one until The Weeknd. This was fine. This is somewhere in between. Like,
it's like I told Amy, after you watch Prince, I remember watching, that's like that and the one where Janet Jackson got her nipple exposed. Those are the two halftime shows that stick in my brain. But yeah, the Prince one, I don't know if you watched that back then. I think it was 2007 or something like that. But that was, it's regarded as the greatest halftime show of all time. Like, he was playing in pouring rain, and then at the end he played Purple Rain, and it was just like, yeah, it was like fucking, it was amazing. It was probably one of the last times they actually had like live music, because what I've heard is that, like,
lip sync, yeah.
What I've heard is that, you know, because they have to put the stage up and tear it down quickly, that doing a sound check isn't really feasible. So that's why I remember years ago when the Chili Peppers did it, it was terrible because only the vocals were live. So the guitarist and the bassist were miming. I mean, the drummer's really playing his drums, but it's not what's coming over the PA. So I think they just stopped doing, you know, live acts for that reason.
So our last thing to talk about, after 88 years, the Gallup organization will no longer collect polling data on Trump approval ratings, presidential approval ratings. And I'm sure they were in no way leaned on by Trump or the administration.
Yeah, right.
It's awful weird that, like, some dipshit that's obsessed with his narcissist poll numbers has poll numbers that drop rapidly, and then they just, nothing to see here. You're not missing anything. It's zero. We don't need to report it because the number's zero.
Well, if you stop reporting it, then it doesn't exist. Just like the COVID numbers. If you don't test, then the COVID doesn't exist.
We don't know. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who knows? Or it was just them going, oh fuck, we're just gonna take ourselves out of this before we get in trouble. Before these fucking giant babies come after us because their feelings are hurt. Before we get indicted.
Yeah, it's just like we've lost so many institutions because of Trump.
Sneezing all of a sudden. Sorry.
Oh, I hope you're not getting what I just got over, man.
No, I think I'm okay. Unless I caught something in Boston. Wouldn't be the first
Of
time
course you
someone caught something in Boston. Wouldn't be the first time someone caught something in Boston.
Like a Kennedy? Did you catch a Kennedy in Boston? I put this together today. I added Chakotay from Voyager because apparently like putting tattoos like you're Mike Tyson on your face, it's cool. It's a cool thing.
Yeah. Wasn't that one? I think I missed that Super Bowl ad. People were talking about Mike Tyson, basically like, stop eating ice cream, you fat piece of shit.
Price of bear meat's going up. The price of bear meat is going up $10.
I once ate a dead whale. Every time I do his voice, it doesn't sound like him. I'm just doing Sling Blade, basically. Swimming raw sewage,
mustard and biscuits. Okay.
I like my Coca-Cola with cane sugar. Mm-hmm.
So this is my way of so we've been for about a month or so doing this thing called This Week in Propaganda, where I go to department pages of U.S. departments. They've been doing this stuff where like there's a lot of AI and a lot of super patriotic stuff. And that was like most of their social media coming out for months. Interesting, in the 2 weeks we just took off, there's almost none. I had found that like going through, I found this and then added Chakotay because it's just, it's ridiculous. But the like AI slop for the most part is gone. One of the only things I have is from a congressman. Oh yeah, Andy Ogles.
Oh yeah, that
great,
one.
great
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
I think
that
it's Middle
one.
Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. But that if George Washington were alive today, he'd join ICE because, I mean, who's the most patriotic president ever, dude? George fucking Washington. Who's the most patriotic organization in the U.S.? ICE. So automatically, George Washington equals ICE, dude.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. It's so fucking ridiculous.
It's really ridiculous.
Jesus Christ, man. This is like kindergarten level shit. Speaking of ICE too, what the fuck's up with them going to the Olympics with the vice president? What the fuck?
Yeah, that's weird. Like, you're taking an
Their border
organization that
patrol.
only works in the U.S. under very specific circumstances, supposedly, to Italy, where they have literally no standing or ability.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, they did. I know it's getting off subject again a bit, but it's did you see the reports of how like they flew like 2 or 3? I think it was like 3 different big ass planes. One was loaded with food, one had like 40. They took like a 40 car motorcade to fucking Italy, dude. They were like,
yeah, one of the things
they're
I'd
like
seen-
clogging the streets, side swiping cars. They made one of the Olympians.
That's what I was just gonna say. Yes.
Yeah. And they're just like, whatever, you should leave on time. Fucking like, what the fuck, man?
Vance creates chaos.
Him getting booed
everywhere
was
he
the best
goes.
thing, though. That was one of the
Yeah.
highlights of the week was Vance getting booed, and then just the look on his face. He kind of looked like Pam Bondi when she brought up Trump getting his feelings hurt from being impeached.
Pam, you got a little shit.
But yeah, as far as this
right
fucking
here.
slop, like, what the fuck?
All
Well, I
right,
was
what else
joking
do we
earlier
have?
before that they're too busy redacting Epstein files to be putting out their propaganda, I guess.
One of the only pieces of propaganda I actually found in Homeland Security now is like Kristi Noem a week ago took her fancy, I'm assuming her fancy private jet that we just paid like $100 million for or whatever. She was at both borders in one day. She went to North Dakota and she went to Arizona. Show of force. And look at her. She looks clueless looking at this chart. Like she doesn't know how to read. Or that she's looking at the most mind-blowing thing that she has ever realized. After not releasing jobs reports and stuff, I find it highly suspect that coming out of the month where Amazon and UPS announced tens of thousands of layoffs that in a month that's traditionally soft on hiring in the winter, that we added 172,000 jobs. Something I'm not going to accuse them of lying just yet, but I don't buy it.
I don't know, because for a long time, we were still kind of in that post-pandemic thing where there were actually more jobs than people. So are these people who were fired by Doge that went and got jobs in the private sector? Or yeah, and I don't believe the numbers for a minute because they're a bunch of fucking liars.
Something just seems off about this
like
amount.
when the jobs report came
months.
out and they're like, no, not like that. Throw that away. We're gonna get somebody else.
I mean, if it's real, great. I'm not going to be a naysayer about the economy just because fucking Republicans in office.
Yeah,
Well, it's not even about a Republican. It's because Trump's in office, and generally things have been trending down.
Yes.
So one graphic, I'm actually going to go back. There was a lot made about, and I didn't include it in my videos because like I could only shorten 5 hours of testimony into so much, but they kept talking about how like it was the greatest thing ever, and they've done the greatest job in the history of the country because the murder rate is going down. Except, yes, great, the murder rate went down again because it's other than like a jump during COVID when people were stuck at home and realized they hate their spouse. The murder rate has been going down since 1991 almost reliably. So like, great. That's another stat that I'm excited about, but they kept playing it up like only you could do this. Without you and Donald Trump, the murder rate would be up. Well, just wait, because it's getting to the point where there's not much further for it to fall, realistically, I don't think. But
no,
here's to hoping, man. Here's to hoping
insane,
that violent crime just keeps fucking going down.
Yeah. Well, it really, besides, that it's good when violent crime isn't happening, it really fucking starts to make their shit look toothless. You know what I mean? How are you going to scare people if less people are getting murdered?
There's a lot of stuff in both the Department of Energy and Department of State about like coal. Big, beautiful coal. You can heat your homes on coal. Coal, it's this great thing. It's the reason, you know how like tuna naturally has mercury in it? It doesn't naturally have mercury in it. It has mercury in it because we burned coal for like 300 fucking years and it got sucked up by the ocean. It's not a good thing.
I didn't know
Not that like other gases still have problems, but things like natural gas burning is not even in the same realm of existence as burning coal. It's so bad. It's objectively the worst thing we could use, and only use it because we have no other choice. Except we do have other choices, so let's not.
I think natural gas is one of the cleanest burning options, isn't it?
Yeah, basically, if you're going to burn something, it's pretty much as good as it gets.
Yeah. Which, I mean, kind of dirt. It's coal. It's fucking dirty and unrefined. It's almost like if you were somehow burning crude oil.
Same thing here about like, we saved this by saving our coal generating plants. This is like what it's saved us, but it like, there's so many bad things that are not on this list. Like, tons of mercury put into the environment. Amount of greenhouse gases.
They say clean coal, but there's no such thing as clean coal.
There isn't.
No, they're like clean
all
coal.
The carbon capture stuff costs so much and is so underperforming as far as actually doing anything. There's truly no such thing as clean coal. You can like gasify it, and then that's a better way to burn it, but that's also energy intensive. So you've got to put even more energy in to get it out.
You're basically, so that's what I was just thinking, like you're basically making a catalytic converter for it to run through, where it burns at a higher temperature,
like
right?
I'm not great on mechanics.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. You have it's exhausted, and within that exhaust system, you have a superheating element that basically burns up and breaks down the emissions.
And back to the lower gas prices here and rents, because for some reason, like this thing about energy, like it's rents hit 4-year lows and the price of gas is cheaper. Sweet, my gas is 2 cents cheaper than the day Trump came into office. I love it. So good.
Totally worth the loss of civil and human rights.
Know anything about Code Pink?
No, I don't.
I believe it was founded in New York City. I may be wrong about that, but there's like, it was a group of like inner city, like mom, just like real feminist activists. And so they're now on that like group of far left agitators that need to be watched because they have Chinese influence, just like the Antifas.
Oh, shit. Just like the Antifas. I thought they arrested the head of Antifa and his girlfriend.
But they did. Oh, but they let his girlfriend go. That's the problem. She's still out there pulling the strings. More energy independence.
Yeah.
Great. Venezuela. Best of luck to you in the 51st statehood category, because like also, fucking Canada might be coming soon. I didn't pull the like not tweet, but on like truth lie social there. Trump had put out this whole thing again about how like we're going to start cutting ties with Canada and they can't build the bridge that they can't complete the bridge that they've been making in Michigan between the two countries, and a bunch of other stuff because they made a deal with China, a new trade deal. Like, okay, so because another country made a trade deal with another country that has absolutely nothing to do with us, we're mad. Big fucking mad.
Yeah. Well, apparently Canada's treated us horribly. Somehow. They've taken severe advantage of our country, so.
And one more, Department of State. Yeah, the tariff money, this thing that's just a tax, but we don't call it a tax. But it's a tax, and it's on the American people. There's hundreds of billions of dollars, which, no, we still haven't collected that much. But even when we do, it will be because it came out of all of our pockets. And now it's just this, like, floating income that's unaccounted for within the administrative system, and Trump can just spend wherever the fuck he wants. There's something very wrong with this.
Well, we're all getting $2,000 tariff checks, right? Isn't that what they said? And some Doge checks at some point too.
Yeah, it's like there's like $8,000 worth of checks.
Yeah,
they're coming. They're in the mail.
They're in the mail. Yeah.
All right. And that's all I have. There used to be a lot more. These aren't as interesting. We may have to stop this segment just because the government, it's still spewing propaganda, but it's out of holes like Pam Bondi in Congress and not their social media sites via AI-powered bullshit.
Yeah, it's not the overt fascism propaganda. Or authoritarian propaganda.
So I would like to thank
Trump
Adam.
Is the greatest president.
Thanks, motherfucker, for joining me.
Thanks for having me on again.
And thanks all of you for tuning in.
Yep.
And yep.
We'll see what fresh on horrors await us. Till next time.
Bye.